morning, gentlemen. The world is moving at a great pace, and today I'm going to talk to you about a problem which has existed for decades and decades. It's both a territorial conflict, a historical conflict, a religious conflict, and a race conflict. It is the problem of Israel and the Arabs in the Israeli occupied area of Gaza. Gentlemen, half a century back, the entire Arab world was united against Israel. But things have changed after the Abraham Accord, which was instigated, or rather pushed forward by Donald Trump, the American president, and many Arab states made peace with Israel and recognized them. And some of them were very important states like the United Arab Emirates. Anyway, gentlemen, this was only a fragile peace because there were two terrorist organizations, that is the Hamas, which operates in Palestine, and the Hezbollah, which operates in the borders of Syria. These two terrorist organizations had not recognized the existence of Israel, and it was always on the cards that this would lead to a massive conflagration, and that's what happened. As you are all aware, Hamas had made a meticulous plan. Now, we do not know who was part of the plan, but probably it could be Iran, and maybe to an extent Russia, and even China, you can be sure about it, and some renegade elements from Saudi Arabia. And of course, terrorist sympathizers among the Islamic world who wish to see the destruction of Israel. Gentlemen, this meticulous planning led to almost 2,500, 3,000 rockets being fired on Israel by Hamas. Now, this is a very big thing. And though Hamas claims that about 5,000 rockets were fired, in real effect only 2,500 were fired, I think. But to fire so many rockets without Israeli intelligence getting any wind of it is very, very surprising. And that is a point which must be noted. After the launch of these missiles, which created havoc in the state of Israel, Hamas fighters launched various attacks at the checkpoints and between Israel and the Gaza Strip, and tens of Israeli soldiers, some of them in their underpants, sleeping in the bunkers, were surprised and captured. Now, this is something, gentlemen, which you must remember, was something which was always on the cards, and Israel had been preparing for it for the last, almost 75 years since its existence. Israelis knew that if given the chance, the Arabs would do this thing. But earlier, Hamas had the support of the entire Arab world, but it's not the case now. Saudi Arabia, which is the kingpin, or rather the leader of the Sunni Islamic movement, was on the verge, I believe, of normalizing relations with Israel. So this was probably coincided with that, so that this is stopped and a fait accompli presented to the world that Israel is an insecure state and cannot defend itself. The attack was audacious, meticulously planned, and the famed Israeli intelligence Mossad had no idea that this was going to take place. In fact, they were taken or captured with their pants down. It reminds me of the similar thing which has happened in the 73 war, which is known as the Yom Kippur War, when the Turkish forces surprised Israel by crossing the Suez Canal at a number of points with the help of the Russian missile cover, which they had obtained from the erstwhile USSR. And finally, peace was brought in, but not before the Israelis had got a bloody nose and the Arabs had got a bit of their ego back. Well, that's a long time back, and now we are in a very, very difficult situation, and Israel, unfortunately, is at the receiving end. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is really worried, and so is the Israeli leadership. And they have promised that this will be an all-out war once for all to finish Hamas. The matter does not end there, because there is a possibility that from the north, the Hezbollah, which is based there, could also launch similar attacks across the Golan Heights into Israel. In that case, Israel would be in dire trouble. The United States sat over this for at least 1 to 2 hours before coming out and saying that we stand with Israel. It's the credit of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi that he was the first man who recognized the gravity of the situation and the perfidy of the terrorist organizations operating in Palestine and Syria. And he has declared his unstinted support to Israel. Gentlemen, it's a very serious situation. The war is going to be long and bloody. I'm pretty sure the Israelis are going to retaliate, but it's not going to be easy with so many soldiers already in their custody. The custody of the Hamas. Hamas has been recognized as a terrorist organization, but the West is also guilty of feeding it with some money by giving some doles under the guise of being even-handed. The European powers have not been entirely behind Israel, and the one country which stands by Israel is the United States. And Joe Biden, unfortunately, is a weak man, the American president, and he had reversed all the anti-Hamas policies of Donald Trump and restored funding to the Palestinian organizations, etc. Gentlemen, I have not been able to understand how America is cooking its own goose. They were wasting time in Israel, in Ukraine, fighting the Russians, when the Russians need not have been provoked, not realizing that America faces a great danger from the Middle East and other countries. There has been an invasion of Europe by the refugees from North Africa, and Europe doesn't know what to do. And now this thing has happened in the Israel border with the Arab states, and it's a very terrible situation. Some people have opined that Turkey could have a hand in it, but I don't think so. Because if Iran was in the picture, Turkey, which is a rival of Iran, I don't think is going to do this dastardly act. The world has to take cognition of the fact that terrorism is rearing its head, and it's not only rearing its head, it could lead to a world war. Mark my words, it's not something which I'm just taking. I'm talking as a military strategist and historian, and I'm wondering what is going to be the end. Well, gentlemen, there is only one end, that is either the Israeli state is destroyed or Israel prevails, because the Arabs around Israel, that is in Gaza and North and Syria, do not recognize Israel. And they say, we will not recognize Israel at all. Saudi Arabia, which has been sitting on the fence for some time and has changed its policy towards Israel, is now on the horns of a dilemma. It has to decide whether it wishes to go with the terrorist organizations like Hamas or back the Israelis in destroying this organization. The second option to the destruction of Israel is the destruction of Hamas once for all. And the Israeli war cabinet has decided that the time has come. In fact, the general opinion in Israel is that enough is enough, and it's about time Hamas was completely wiped out. But as I've told you, gentlemen, it's not going to be easy with so many soldiers in the custody of the Hamas who may use them as a bargaining chip. Maybe they could be the fodder for the next war. It looks very sad, and I feel very sad that somebody should launch these sort of terrorist organizations could launch such attacks. There is a possibility that the situation could be done even in Kashmir. I mean, let's be very clear about it. Pakistan has declared India as its enemy, and there's every chance that they will resort to such activities there. So, realizing the gravity of the situation, the Indian Prime Minister, who's the global statesman, has come out in support of Israel. In fact, India, I think, supported Israel even earlier than the American statement came. Now, gentlemen, what is going to be the future? The future is very dark, as I've already given you two possibilities. But my personal feeling is that Israel is going to launch a massive attack. I think they are now planning, as far as I understand. Israel has promised Hamas that they will face retribution, the like of which they have never faced. Let us wait and see, gentlemen, what happens. I will keep you updated of the military situation which is going on there. Israel is a single nation there fighting for survival. The Jews have been tortured and killed all over the world, and it is incumbent on the world to back Israel at this critical juncture. I'm sure there will be a massive retaliation from Israel. Let us see how and when it takes place. I close now, gentlemen, and say goodbye. Take care of yourself. I'll be very happy if you would subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and like it and comment. Goodbye, and God bless.